Alright. Whew, so this was kind of a late start today because I do not have absolutely anything together tonight. But we're gonna do this. So hi, I'm Ella Stifa, and I'm cooking very slowly through the entire Final Fantasy XIV official cookbook. And today, was not able to go to the store because we got a big ice storm yesterday, and the roads are theoretically okay, but they're not, like, we weren't gonna risk it. So instead of doing groceries and getting something really exciting, I'm gonna make some cornbread because I actually have the ingredients for that at home. And then, just because that's probably going to take like 30 minutes, and it's not much of a meal, I'm just going to go ahead and make the rest of my meal, which is probably going to end up being, ironically, somewhat a little close to the deep-fried okeanos recipe that I made earlier. So we can always pretend I was making that and that I'm still doing Final Fantasy XIV recipes. But in the meantime, we're going to get started. I need to move this, find a better place to put my camera. It's just so great, though. It's mobile. It's wireless. All right, anyway. In the meantime, we are actually going to get started on the cornbread, though. So, I think the first ingredient actually requires me to go over to the stove. So I'm going to actually pick up this before-mentioned mobile camera and haul it over there. And then we're going to melt an entire stick of butter. Yeah, so let's do that. Bam! Alright, so 1 stick of butter is 8 tablespoons. And hopefully the sound of my series going in the background is not going to be incredibly horrible. You can see it's definitely getting picked up on the mic, so hopefully it's not going to be deafening. Anyway, I'm going to, before I go over there, I'm going to cut this butter into tablespoons so that it actually melts this reasonably quickly. There we go. Let's do it. Bam! So happy that I can actually do stovetop stuff now. Alright, so I'm going to move these out of the way. I am going to need both of those. We are going to melt some butter on this back one here. Yes, yes. Thank you, sous vide. And we are going to let that melt. Alright. What do I want to stir you with? A spoon, presumably. Slotted spoon, that'll work. Alright, is this visible? Yeah, it's reasonably visible. Is that better? No, that's worse. Whatever. We'll figure it out. Is that better? It's hard to tell. Do need to play with the color contrast a bit. So, the only slightly... I am going to bring my iPad over so I can actually see if anyone's outside. I'm sneak this in. So the only slightly fancy part about this recipe is that you brown the butter first. So this, we're going to melt it. And then we're going to let it just kind of go at low temperature until it browns a little bit. And from there on out, it is just cornbread. So let's see, I might... Do I want to put together the dry ingredients while this thing is going? I think I'm gonna at least, like, let it melt down first. There we go. this all melts. So, the ingredients for this one, or the instructions, I meant to say. Yeah, so in a small saucepan, melt the butter, swirling it until it becomes golden brown, about 10 minutes. And then it has to cool. Anyway, you know something's going to be tasty when the first step is basically take a whole stick of butter. Alright, I'm going to assume I'm going to need pretty low heat for this, so I'm not going to turn this up or anything. And I've only done brown butter like once, so I'm not quite sure how much babysitting I need to do for this. Let's set a timer though. So the absurd thing about my microwave and the timer and everything else I'm doing right now. Yeah, it's a little hot, aren't you? I'm pretty sure I don't want you to froth. Anyway, the 5 button on my microwave doesn't work. Or the 0. A reasonable person would get this fixed or buy a new microwave. But instead, I've just done the missing stair thing and figured out how to just use my microwave without using the 5 or 0 button, which means that when I needed to put in the timer for 10 minutes, which is obviously impossible, I just typed in 961, and then the microwave, in bewildered confusion, eventually figures out that I was doing 10 minutes and 1 second. Anyway, I really ought to do something about that. Add butter. This is a really simple recipe though. This is not going to take much time to do. Which is why after this I'm just going to make some pork chops. But like I said, we can pretend they're deep fried okays because they're very similar. The only difference between the Final Fantasy XIV pork chops and mine is really it's some of the certainly the things that I season it with, and then just like what I bread it with. So we'll see. We'll get there. We shall see how it turns out. In the meantime, just in the very exciting adventure of melting butter, or stirring butter that is already melted. Really, does that not help? I guess you can kind of see what I'm doing. Just not the detail. I need to work on the, like the, what is it, the white exposure, the light exposure. Anyway, I'm going to give this a second. I'm going to grab some water. So I was absolutely planning to do something fancier this weekend. There's a few recipes I was looking at. I'm really excited to do, of course, because the moment I start thinking, yeah, I could do this recipe, get all excited for it, so then it's a little disappointing when I can't do it. But yeah, couldn't safely get out of the house this morning, so I didn't try to go to the store. Played video games all morning instead. Alright. Hello, butter. How are you coming along? It's so weird. Butter like separates. So you've got like this foam on the outside and then the transparent clarified bit in the bottom. All sorts of fun things you can do with butter, but I have not really done that much. I don't know much about it, that is. I've never made clarified butter, or... I have made my own butter from scratch, though. That's mildly fun, by some definitions of fun. Yeah. Foam is going away. So this is great. We're going through the transformative moment of... we are actually pretty sure that's a step while it's going from like just normal butter to like browning a bit. So I'm gonna keep the temperature low though, because I'm pretty sure that is real easy to go from like butter to like slightly browning to, oh no, it's actually scorched all the way through. It's so cool though, like you're just heating and stirring, and then there's all that foam on the top, and then suddenly, bam. No more. All the solids in there. Butter's weird. So yes, the sound in the background is my sous vide, which I have set to a very low temperature because I am not sous videing my pork. But my pork is basically frozen through. I took it out, but not nearly early enough because I didn't think that I would actually have to cook dinner tonight. But here we are. Yeah, I'm utterly unused to like freezing rain. Snow, sure, yeah, no, I know what to do with snow. But like freezing rain is very confusing to me. And so the idea that we'd have a snowstorm one day and then not be able to go out the day after is kind of like foreign to me. And I did not consider it, or I would have probably gone to the store earlier this week. Come on. This is not the most exciting thing to do or to stream. And I don't feel like I can go and just abandon it and do something else for a while, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to scorch the heck out of it if I do that. I feel like, keep playing with the temperature though, and like, should it be slightly warmer? Because this is a really weak burner. I can turn it down, then like, it's like barely simmering strength. Let's see. Say low or medium? Medium heat. Alright. And turning it up was not the stupidest idea I've ever had. We've got a minute and a half on this timer here. This does not look very golden brown though. Though I'm pretty sure it's gonna go from like golden to brown very quickly. Ooh, it's foaming up again. Probably because I turned up the heat. Come on. Ooh, I think we've got some color. I think we have a slightly darker orange. Yeah, we definitely have some color. Alright. Are you gold? Are you golden? Alright, I want to make sure I don't burn it. Oh, yeah. We're good. Hooray! Alright, this is very hard to see on stream, especially with all the foam on it. But it basically went from, like, slightly orange to, like, more brown than orange really quickly. Alright, we're gonna go with that. Alright, so let's do the rest of this stuff. I'm gonna go pick up all my things. Oh, yeah, I swore not to do that, but and I won't. I'll be careful not to do that in the future. I don't want to, like, give anyone motion sickness. I say while I continue to wiggle things around. Alright. Okay. Yes. Alright, that was our 10-minute timer. Okay, so, well, from here on out, that just needs to cool. I might transfer it to another container just so there's any carryover heat. It doesn't continue to cook it. Also, because this way you can kind of see what color it is. If I can, like, let's see. Yeah, no, not really. Maybe if I turn it, like, way sideways. Dunk. Wow, that's a horrible angle. Let's not do that. That's kind of disorienting. Anyway, you can tell it's still, like, it's very, like, a yellowy, buttery thing, but it's, like, darker and oranger. Alright. Now, if I'm done playing with the camera, which I am never done playing with the camera, I'm going to plug it in real quick, though. Alright, let's do the dry ingredients. Alright. I'm going to measure these out instead of using my cups for this one. Yeah, alright. And I also forgot my cornmeal. One moment. Alright. In a large bowl, or measuring cup, because that's what I'm doing for this. I need my bowls for other purposes. Alright, combine cornmeal, all-purpose flour, whole wheat flour, and then brown sugar, baking soda, salt. Alright. All very normal things. Alright, 184 grams. Alright, that's 170 grams. Now I'm going to go into the magical back cupboard to see if I have I did not realize. Oh, I don't need this. Ah. Alright, I did not realize that I was a little short on cornmeal. That's okay. We're only 10 grams short. But now we're already making some exceptions. We're going to see how this goes. Alright, so I'm going to make up this rest with all-purpose flour. And the last 10 grams of this, just in case it matters. Alright. We're flying by the seat of our pants today. Actually, I have one other recipe that I could make without having to actually go out to the store. Let's see. All right, so I need 97 grams of all-purpose flour. All right. So basically, if I ever run out, if I'm ever unable to go to the store, there's only a small number of recipes that I'm able to do, but it was either cornbread or deviled eggs or what was it? The coffee biscuits. And while coffee biscuits were the easy and more like interesting recipe that I could make, it's no, it's like still grams. The issue with coffee biscuits is that it's not much of a dinner, and it's a pain in the butt to have to go make cookies, then also go off screen and make dinner. All right, 60 grams of whole wheat flour. This is gonna make it a little weirder. I feel like this stuff's really fine. Yeah, there we go. All right, those are our flours. Okay, everything else I'm going to measure out like an American. With the measuring spoons. All right. Cornmeal, flour, light brown sugar, baking powder, and salt. Oh, also, should preheat the oven. What is this going to? 425. All right, now light brown sugar. All right, brown sugar. Let's do this over. Bonk. All right, brown sugar, baking powder. Yes. Always have that baking powder or baking soda moment. Alright. Oh, I can't really see it. Let's put them up here. Ha! Alright. 1 tablespoon of baking powder. One tablespoon? Yes. 2 teaspoons of salt. And I have more salt if this runs out at least. Oh, look, it is. This is like the stream wherein all of my ingredients start running out on me. Come on, you stupid spout. Open here, but how? Okay, I don't think it was completely necessary to tear the whole sticker off, but that's how it worked out. Alright, I'm going to finish off this teaspoon and then pour another one. Alright. And that's basically it. These are all our dry ingredients. I am going to need a small bowl, aren't I? Oh, they could get away with a little porry top. That's what I do when I make my own cornbread, is that I make it all in this stupid pouring, Pyrex pouring, what is this? In this little Pyrex thing. And then just pour it from here into the pan. That's not going to work so well right now, because this has more than what I'm used to. Alright. In a small bowl, I don't think I need to do that, mix your butter, oil, honey, eggs, and buttermilk. Alright, so I need olive oil. Do I have more olive oil? Gosh darn it. I do. Alright. I'm going to switch this to the exciting adventures of watching me fill an olive oil container. Just in case this goes horribly wrong. Make sure I have the right container. Yes, that would be great. Pouring the olive oil into the corn oil container would be extremely awesome, I'm sure. Do-do-do. 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 Ah! I overestimated it. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay. Okay. Thank you, olive oil. Okay, so, as I was saying before my hands, olive oily hands. What was I saying? I think I was just going to measure some stuff. Alright. So, I need 2 tablespoons olive oil. This thing's heavy now. Alright. One tablespoon. Wow, I'm like slightly afraid. It's like the jar is oily and heavy, and I'm like, I'm totally gonna flip this over. Alright, there we go. 2 tablespoons olive oil. Yes, a 1/4 cup of honey. Now this I knew going in that I would have some problems with, because I almost certainly do not have enough honey, but I might have Alright, so here's our great good friend Clover Honey that has basically made... I've basically gone through this entire thing doing Final Fantasy XIV recipes. Oh no, are you hardened in there? You're definitely going to have some issues if you're hardened in here. Oh, you are! That's great. Well, you don't get any choice in the matter. You're coming out. Anyway, I started this jar of honey when I made the honey muffins. And now I have basically used an entire thing of honey on just recipes for Final Fantasy XIV. Alright, is this doing a single thing? I was hoping I could avoid having to do some tedious squeezing, or some tedium of having to scrape this stuff out. But no. No such luck. We're just going to very slowly scrape honey out of this jar, because none of it wants to come out reasonably. And even then, we're not going to have a 1/4 cup of honey. But we'll have most of a 1/4 cup of honey. Alright, am I going to get anything more out of you? Apparently. Tiny little baby bit more honey. Alright, let's stop brutalizing that poor thing. Alright. Garbage bear honey, it's your turn. You're like barely more full. I think I need to buy some honey. And like a million other things. This is like super gross. On the other hand, between these two things of honey, I might actually have something roughly close to a 1/4 cup, or a 1/4 cup of honey. All I had to do was combine the actually decent honey and the garbage honey. That was more work than it was probably worth. For a bunch of like half-hardened, half-liquid honey. Alright. But it's close enough. There, we're just gonna like liquefy the rest of it. Alright. Wow. What a lot of work. I'm not allowed to mess up the rest of the recipe now, because I have no way of duplicating 2 of the ingredients now. Alright. Alright, what is next? 2 eggs and 1¼ cups of buttermilk. I put things on the top because that's actually where I actually can see what I'm doing up there. Okay. Now, before I get the last ingredient, the buttermilk, I'm going to use this dinky little, it's not really a whisk, it's a whisk attachment that's supposed to go on a hand mixer or something. Anyway, I'm going to mix all this together because, you know, so I can break up the eggs a little bit. If there's anything left of chunky honey, get rid of that. Mix it with the butter there. All right. So now, oh yeah, you're not in great shape, are you? We're gonna get the buttermilk, which I still have from last week. I've used quite a bit of it though. Had some great buttermilk pancakes. All right, this is 1 cup and then 1/4 cup. So 1 cup. Ooh. One-quarter cup. Then we're barely fitting in this, barely fitting in this measuring cup. I'm gonna do the baby weakest little stir here so that I don't spend this spilling out over the spout. Come on. It's like as valuable as gold honey in there. I can't afford to like mess this up. Oh, and the butter and the honey are like, no, it's the honey. It's like collecting on the bottom. Can see you down there, honey. All right. Okay, so now there's no way these are both going to fit into any sort of container, so I'm going to relent. I'm going to relent and put them all into one big container, even though I'm just immediately going to pour this into a skillet. All right, so before I do this, I'm going to read, because reading is important. All right, combine cornmeal, all-purpose flour, brown sugar, baking powder, and salt in a small bowl. Whisk together butter, oil, honey, eggs, and buttermilk. Pour the melted butter mixture into the large bowl with the cornmeal mixture. Mix until it's just combined. All right. So that's our flour mixture. And pour our liquids in. Alright, we're just going to stir it until just combined, which is cooking shorthand for don't overmix it. There's a lot of things that basically flours get tougher the more you work them, and so there's several recipes or types of recipes where they want you to just basically like avoid mixing it as much as possible. You'll often see this with muffin recipes. Oh, there's some on the bottom still. You often see this with like cupcake recipes and stuff, or muffins, and they really don't want you to overwork it, so they're like just until combined, which basically means it's okay if there's some pockets of flour in there or something. Anyway, this is just combined, although make sure there's always flour hiding on the spoon. All right, that's our batter. Now what I need to do real quickly though, first of all, I'm going to toss all these honey jars. All right, I need to grease the pan. So this is actually going to go into a cast iron skillet, which is always kind of fancy. I don't normally do that. All right, I do not normally make cast iron skillet cornbread, but that's what we're doing in this case. And we're going to going to wipe the pan with butter. Let's see, now how can I microwave some butter? I feel like I've used all of my dishes today. All right, we're gonna get one out and wash it real quick, because it's not like I have anyone to chat with at the moment. Boop. Yeah, I guess you can see me do the exciting world of doing some dishes. Doing a dishes. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry off this bowl and then going to melt some butter in it. And the whole point of that is that then I can wipe this melted butter in this pan. All right. So how much butter am I going to put in you? Actually, I'm not going to switch over quite yet. Let's see, that's my honey knife. This is my butter knife. Let's put like probably a tablespoon is enough. I'm going to do like a tablespoon and a half. Then we're going to microwave it. Most dangerous way to deal with the most dangerous way to heat up and melt your butter. Because if you don't catch it in time, it'll explode. All right, I'm gonna do that real quick. Get out a brush, and then we will butter up that pan, and then throw it in the oven. And then we shall have some cornbread. And then I can make the rest of dinner. And show you all how I do my own fried pork chops. And we'll just pretend it's yours. Honestly, as it is. Oh, no, you're not quite melted. But you will be imminently, so I can't. If I did the whole 11 seconds, this thing's going to explode. Hi, kitty. probably too much butter, but that's fine. Better too much than too little. Yeah, that's right, kitty. That's right. It's time for her dinner and she's hungry. All right, I'm gonna go butter this bottom. This actually might be about the right amount of butter. Maybe. Because I gotta get the sides. It's slightly more than I need. Whatever. Right. That's all buttery. All right. Pour into prepared skillet. Bake for 20 to 25 minutes. All right, come on. Go on in. All right. You can pat this out into the right shape. All right. Boop. Now my own cornbread, which is not, I'm not super fancy, as I'll often toss in actual corn kernels, just so you can have some actual corn crunchiness in there. It's quite nice, but we are making this the way that the La Notions do, and they don't do that apparently. Pirates don't use fresh corn. All right, bake for 20 to 25 minutes. Off you go. All right, we'll start at 20 minutes and then hope we don't burn it. Okay. Well then. Let's take a quick lower break to look at the... Actually, you know what? I'm going to take a lower break in a second because I'm actually going to get a little bit ready for the actual dinner. So we'll get this butter out of the way. And this olive oil. And some of these flowers. Okay. So, no, we are going to go a little ahead. And start my pork chops, which shall be my dinner tonight. Okay, and the reason we're going to do this is because I desperately want to get a bunch of pork juice on my counter. That was the plan mostly. No, it was not actually the plan. The plan is actually because when I make these, one step is to let them sit for like up to 10 minutes with the actual coating on them to make sure that it adheres properly. And because that means I'll have 10 minutes where I'm not doing anything, I may as well get started on that, and then I can read the cookbook and catch up on the Final Fantasy XIV lore while this sets up. Alright, so although I'm going to wipe that clean, and then actually clean, because I spilled some pork juices on it, and I don't want to deal with that. Alright. Ahem. Alright, let's cut these suckers in half. Alright. Boop. So these are just pork chops that I get. They're big chunky boys. Because they're big and they're bigger than I need these to basically be about like half as wide as they are. The fat side is not the easy side to cut from. I'm basically scoring this around the edges. Roughly down the middle. So that I can cut it, at least theoretically, somewhat down the middle. And have pork chops of equal length, or equal width. Length is not the problem. All right, so there's one. These don't have the best structure in the world. Kind of. It's probably because they were frozen, and then I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna like thaw them really quickly. All right. There. Ta-da! So we have 4 pork chops. So for the deep-fried okanis, which I made earlier, it was essentially a similar recipe where you took pork chops, you took your okanis meat clearly, and then you battered it in, I think it was panko. But today we're doing it my way, which happens to be the America Test Kitchen way, so it's not like I came up with this. And here is our magic secret process because it's great. First bowl, cornstarch. And if you have a bag that is torn open in a real weird way like this one, just make sure you just don't dump the whole thing in here because you don't need a huge amount. You need just enough to kind of adhere to this skin of 4 pork chops. Yeah, we'll leave it at this because I'm low on cornstarch as well. Just to add to all the stuff that I do not have a lot of. And I'm slowly running out of. Or quickly running out of, as it may be. So it's cornstarch. This one is going to be, I'm not going to put it in there like that, don't worry. It's going to be an egg, milk, and alright, so this is some milk, this is Dijon mustard. And down there, that is a hungry cat. Oh. Wow, that was a double yolk. Wow, that's cool. I'm like, had this moment where I was like, how did I do this? Wow, that's never happened to me before. I cracked one egg and then I was just like, did I zone out and crack 2 eggs? No, that was a double yolk. Cool. Just some amount of milk. And this is Dijon mustard, which, don't don't judge it till you try it. It's actually quite good. Put a teaspoon in there. All right, and this we are going to beat this so that everything is integrated properly. It's going to take more work than normal because there's 2 yolks in there. So cool. Yeah, why couldn't that happen when I was making breakfast? Here, this yolk is just basically glue. That's the only purpose that we have for it, is to just glue stuff to the meat. All right, now we're going to use the breading. You can use any type of breading. You can do panko. You can do just straight up flour, or you can do what I'm doing here and use cornflakes. Which again, you're like, wait, what? But no, it's amazing. Cornflakes. I'm just looking at the volume, wow. Just the crunch of cornflakes is enough to put the volume in the yellow. I probably have to sound up too loud in that case. Unintentional ASMR stream. Anyway, you can use anything for breading. I've also used ground up crackers for breading before. All sorts of things. Cornflakes are lovely and crunchy. So it's a good way to end up with ultra crunchy pork chops. We're also going to season it just a tiny bit. With the lazy solution. See, this is the other difference between mine and you. Oh, is that good? Is that good luck? What, the unintentional ASMR or the fact that I'm messing up everything? I don't feel like I'm very lucky today. But hi, Amanda! This is all a very impromptu stream. Basically, the double yolk. Oh, you joined around that point. It is supposed to be good luck. I don't feel lucky today. But if it is luck, then I will welcome it. The reason that Sam is watching you while I make dinner. Awesome, she's watching 2 dinners. Yes, we're making dinner and then cornbread. Well, we're making dinner while the cornbread bakes. Because there was an ice storm that came through yesterday, and we could not get to the grocery store today. So I had to basically find a recipe that I could make with whatever I had in the house. And this was it. So this is what we're making today. All right, so this is the fun part where you get your hands messy. Yours looks better than ours. I can't see your dinner, so I don't know if that's true. Sorry, I am getting a rack real quick, which is nicer to look at than... Oh no, I'm making a mess. Making a mess is part of cooking. Anyway, so I am getting this rack so that I have a place to put my pork chops when I'm done. So these don't... So anyway, what I'm doing here, because I can't quite all fit it all into the camera, is that first you dip the pork into the... Basically, this is just cornstarch. There's nothing else in this bowl. This one is milk and egg and a little bit of Dijon mustard. And then over here, you can't really see it, just a bowl of cornflakes. It has been lightly seasoned with salt and pepper. Actually seasoned salt and pepper. And then I'm going to clean my hands after every time because this is really messy. Well, what are you having for dinner, Amanda? And I know you're making it, so you don't feel compelled to actually type it at any point. I can also track you down later and ask. We have 5 minutes on our cornbread. All right. Because the lesson today is that I'm running out of everything, also running out of cornflakes, all right, I'll move this up here so that these people can look at this. We're having mac and cheese, sausages and peas, nothing too special. I don't know, that sounds great. Mac and cheese is never lame. We were supposed to make some this week and then completely forgot about it. And now we have I guess I could eat it with this. It's easy. You can have mac and cheese with pork chops. But earlier this week all we had was pizza. Box mac and cheese. That doesn't matter either. Box mac and cheese is perfectly delicious too. I'm not going to dump on craft dinner. When I lived alone, absolutely just whip that out as an easy stuff. Now now it's, I don't know. Now I feel guilty because Timmy has to eat it too. So, but I don't have a kid. But I know that the kids love box mac and cheese. So there's the dilemma. Is that I wouldn't feel bad. Not bad. I feel like Emerald would judge me a little. So I do the fancy mac and cheese sometimes, but anyway, we didn't end up making it this week. So alright, so these are going to stay here. I'm going to oh, not recipe cards. That's an old recipe card I haven't updated. I put effort into a breakfast smoothie and breakfast burrito. Now I'm phoning it in with something simple. Honestly, that sounds perfect. You made one fancy meal, and at this point, people just need to eat. And you're like, you know what? We're eating something simple. Yeah. Now I'm just dumping all this over here so I don't have to look at them until later. But then eventually I'm going to have to do all these dishes. I'm just going to hide them until I have to do them. Alright. So our cornbread is in the oven. it has 2.5 more minutes. At which point I have to actually look at it and see if it needs 5 more minutes. Anyway, so these pork chops are sitting there. They are fine. Let's see. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna go and refresh this clearly because that's not working. There. All right, so I'm going to get the oil ready. Okay, so I'm going to unplug this cord. Wow, why is making such a mess on my expensive new camera? All right, how am I going to set this up? I'm going to put this over here. Let's see if you can actually see it. Oh, you can kind of see it. I don't want to like put the camera like absurdly close. That seems like a good way to grease up my brand new camera. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, so corn oil. Enough to cover the bottom. Hungry kitty. He's gonna nag me. Alright, I'm going to turn this on and just let it heat up. And while it heats up, I'm going to pick up the cat because she's nagging me. It's Lila! This is Lila. She is the more willful and assertive of our cats. She's the stubborn one who likes to nag me to feed her and to go to bed. Isn't that right, Lila? Right now she thinks it's dinner time. Ooh! This definitely does not need 5 more minutes. This looks lovely. All right. We're gonna keep moving around the camera like a weirdo so you can appreciate the cornbread that just came out of the oven. Ta-da! Oh, come on. All right, it looks very lovely in real life. It looks a little washed out on my camera. I think I need to work on the light exposure on this camera. Can you see it's brown? No? No? Anyway, it's beautiful. You know, it's lightly browned. It's got some browning around the edges. Looks delightful. I mean, this looks fantastic. I'm very happy with this. It is definitely ready to go. Anyway, this needs to cool because if you try to cut this while it's hot, it's absolutely just going to fall apart. So, I am going to let that cool grudgingly, even though I really want to taste it. I want to see how it turned out. But in the meantime, alas, we're going to have to go over to this much less, we're going to have to go over and do our pork instead. Right. So the pork chops are sitting over here on this counter, just gluing everything together while the oil heats up. I'm going to move a couple more things off of my counter because I'm making a huge mess, like always. Do I have a vegetable? We need vegetables too, don't we? I'm just making dinner now. any pretense that this is Eorzean at all. Is going out the window. Although I did intend to, and still would like to, read the actual flavor text for this cornbread recipe while I go around and make and like steam a vegetable in the meantime. Alright. I will have a free second at some point. So this is not the exciting part of what I'm doing today. We're just going to make some broccoli in the meantime. While the thing heats up. So we do the most exciting angle ever. Do the Ellie cutting broccoli angle. Yeah. There's the broccoli. Broccoli's delicious. Should definitely eat your broccoli. It is genuinely my favorite vegetable, and it keeps really well. So you can do what I did, which is just throw it in the fridge, forget about it for a week. And then when you remember it, it's actually still edible. Oof. Well, yes, I was not planning on cooking anything today, except cookies or some sort of like bonus recipe from this cookbook. I was thinking maybe, I don't know, like there's a really nice entree that I want to do. Like I want to do the, what's it called? There's some croquettes, and I was going to do some deep frying. They're like crab croquettes. They were going to be real fancy. And then I could do something else for dinner, and it was going to be great. And then, like, I'm totally not used to ice storms. So this morning, we turned on the news, and they were like, yeah, you're going to have a hard time getting out if you live on a side street. It's just like, completely unthinkable to me that you would have a storm and then not be able to go out the next day once the snow is over, because, yeah, I'm not used to ice storms. And so, had to come up with everything I was going to do today on the fly because I had nothing in my house that I can cook with except for like a little bit of buttermilk from last week. Alright, so there's our broccoli. Alright, and our oil's getting close, but not quite. So that means, while I wait, I can finally read this Final Fantasy XIV cookbook. Alright, so the cornbread that we are making today is apparently from La Nocia, which my brain cannot stop reading as La Nocia because that's how I read it for like years. And apparently the voice acting makes it very clear that that's not how it's supposed to be pronounced. But I have just filtered it out for years. Never occurred to me until somebody was like, what do you mean La Nocia? And I'm like, well, that's... And then I thought about it, and then I've just been realizing I've just been ignoring absolutely every character for like 10 years. Anyway. La Nocia apparently makes cornbread. I don't know why. And, like I mentioned before, all of the recipes come with a little tiny bit of story that is written by either this little Namazu or a little Moogle. and they just basically run around and they observe things about the world that they encounter. So this one, it's from the little Namazu, and he says, "The Bismarck is known very far and very wide for its fancy dishes." Oh yeah, because it's the Culinarians Guild. Makes sense. "But it's not the only tasty place to eat in Limsa Limensa. After working in the kitchens, my fins would be exhausted, and I wanted something simpler, yes, yes. The Drowning Wench has many tasty treats, but their cornbread is an extra special treat. I enjoyed many evenings with my cornbread and a drink while staring at all the people staring at me." Right, so that's the inn, isn't it? Isn't that the Drowning Wench? I think I would know. My character started in Limsa, but I never go there. So I don't even know the layout of the town because I hate it. I hate going there. Alright. We're gonna scooch the cornbread out of the way. And then I'm going to start frying the rest of my dinner. Hey, do you want to feed the cat? Alright, this is ready. You can tell because the oil, you cannot tell on stream of course. The oil is very faintly shimmering. The other way you know is if it starts to sizzle while it's okay. The camera's on the the camera's on the pork, not on you. But now everyone knows that Emerald's here. It's alright. You're feeding the cat. So the cats leave me alone.
You said there's no camera here. No.
There's a camera there.
On screen feeding cats.
Hi.
Is this like attractive?
Is this great? You're feeding cats?
Has that sweater too?
Yep.
Wow.
Amanda says hi.
Hi Amanda, how are you? How are you doing?
Oh, it's near the Aft Castle in the inn. Oh no, the Drowning Wench isn't actually the inn? Where's the Drowning Wench in?
The Drowning Wench is the inn.
Is it? I don't know. Alright.
How much do you give these guys?
How much do you give him? Like a third of a kilo. She has that sweater too. This is like the official husband sweater then.
Just like she. Why is Mimi, you don't need to eat the broccoli.
Mimi's trying to eat broccoli? Wow, he's so hungry. He's given up. He's decided to eat. It's a good sweater. It is a good sweater. Actually, I assume so. I've never been much of a sweater thief. I'm just gonna make sure these have enough space. And then after these are done, I'll finally get to eat my cornbread. Thank you for feeding the cats. Lila was not leaving me alone. Alright, I'm going to put some of these away while I wait for these to cook. I basically just cook them until they're brown on each side, but I'll kind of like spin them a little bit once they get darker. Hey, I just want to eat my cornbread. Alright, I just didn't have to wait so long. Anyway, I can complain and I can comment on how it's difficult. So I was thinking, one of the recipes I theoretically kind of sort of could have done, so realistically it would have been rather difficult today, is there's a beef stew recipe. But I cannot figure out how I would do it on stream, because it's basically like, so, you know, step one is like get all the pieces. You've got some meat, you've got some vegetables, and then you dice them up into little pieces, and you throw them in a stew pot. So clearly that's like the active part of the stream. That's like the active part of the recipe that I'm like, hey guys, look, I am making the recipe by chopping these all up. But then, because it's a stew, you let it cook for 3 hours. That's not exciting. Also, the other thing about a good cooking stream is that you let people see you eat it at the end, because it's pretty boring if you're like, look, I have made the recipe. Thanks, everyone. I'll tell you how it was next week. So I'm not even sure, like, what do I do? Do I, like, start this? Do I do 2 streams where I start it and then I sign off and then I come back on 4 hours later? I don't have a recipe that takes 3 hours. So it's hard to, like, cook up something else for 3 hours. Or, do something wonky like play video games for 3 hours. He's not eating his food, that's not surprising. So anyway, it's all very difficult. I'm like, how do I do this stew? Alright, I'm flipping these around. Whoop. Don't even know what the bottoms look like. I'm just flipping them. Or spinning them, sorry. Whoop. Mostly because the heat source is a little uneven. So I want to make sure that the whole bottoms are toasted. Also going to put the broccoli in there. Alright.
What else are you making besides cornbread and broccoli?
Cornbread, broccoli, and pork chop.
Are we making rice?
No. What? Here I'm making dinner and he's like, what, that's all? Do all the prep, then stream a game in the middle. She's like, wow. I know, right? He's like, oh, we're missing the starch. Like, bread. Real nice everyone. It's true, I'm making like 3 things. And he's like, yeah, it is. So yes, I have considered do all the prep, stream a game in the middle, and have like the stew can in the corner where you can watch it go and watch it.
People watch a stream to see our marital problems.
Being boring in the corner. I'd even have a game-ish, but then it would be super weird if I'm like, look at my Final Fantasy 14 stream. You can look at the Final Fantasy 14 stew being cooked in the corner while I play Castlevania because they re-released it on Steam. Or SRL. So, anyway, I thought about that. I almost did that today. Yeah, come on, you can be a little darker. Anyway, continue with our insufficient dinner. There's not enough food. Come on. Let's see. This is what you need to find in here. Make it look better while I'm doing this. So at least I can do a stovetop thing now, but like everything looks really washed out. And I'm not quite sure what it is. I know, but how do I adjust the exposure on the fly? Let's see. Use my app. Alright, fine. I'll do that. Alright, so I'm just going to pull out this app and it's right here. Start fiddling with it right now and see. Alright, exposure. Oh, it's pretty hard. Let's put this down. Is that make it clear? Oh, shoot, I missed the pen. There. Just see the color a little better now. the most appetizing thing in the world.
Put down more.
Very good. Beautiful. Let's see. White orange.
Now it looks pretty good.
Does it look pretty good?
I don't know, after you were.
Actually, viewers, that's a great thing. The color contrast look a little better now. Okay. Of course, I am a crazy person. I'm sitting here dealing with hot oil, and yet my go-to technique has always been to just poke it off the fork with my finger, even though I could burn myself. What are we making today? Hi, Ray! We're making, okay, it's not what it looks like. We're making cornbread, but then I had to make stuff to go with the cornbread so I could actually eat food tonight. So these are just pork chops that I am incidentally making on the side. So that I have something to eat.
Leviathan chops.
They're Leviathan chops?
Whatever
Okay.
it was. Severe pork chops with like fish sauce or whatever.
Yes, okay, so this is similar to the deep-fried Okeanos recipe that I did make earlier. Except the deep-fried Okeanos recipe used Tonto for the breading. And this is my own recipe, by which I mean a modified version of the American pet cooking recipe. And this is, the breading on these is cornflakes. So once these are done, which is pretty soon. Oh. Emerald has lost all shyness of being on camera now. Alright, I'm just going to kind of flip these around so that if there's any warm spots that the entire... I invited him on stream and now I can't get rid of him. Now he's just like, alright, come on. Spin your little thing. There you go. Anyway. Made a little hole. Oh no, ignore that I did that. Anyway, if there's any warm spots on the bottom of the pan, I'm just making sure that... Otherwise, it would be boring. Anyway, I basically just make it an entire normal non-Aleutian dinner as an excuse to eat some Aleutian venison pork chop. I'm going to add some butter and some salt, some kosher salt, fancy spicy sauce. And then finally, I shall be able to eat my cornbread and see how it turned out. Basically, just waiting for the pork chops to finish. And they're done when they're brown on the bottom. They mostly are by now. Yay. Ooh, that one's pretty done. It's not done yet. Do. I'm going to get a little bit more color in that. We're basically done. Now it's made so many dishes. Emerald's gonna have lots of fun. right. Off you go. Hey. Oh no, I frightened him about the dishes. I scared him. No doing dishes until stream's over. Get out. Alright. So, alright, here's our pork chops. Okay, they do actually look okay now, although I'm way too close to the camera. Right, there's our pork chops. You can pretend that these are the deep fried onions from before because they're very similar recipes. But they're not. They're not the same recipe. The deep fried onions one had fish sauce in it. Which was slightly weird. Anyway, what we're actually here to see is not my homemade pork chops. It's this stuff. It's the cornbread. We made this in a cast iron pan. This is the actual recipe for today. And it looks lovely. Now that I've turned down the contrast a little bit, you can actually see that it is prettily browned around the edges. So I'm very excited to try this. We're going to see how this is. I need something to cut it with. Honestly though, a butter knife will probably work. But because it's a circle, and because I'm just creating all the dishes in my house, I feel like I could use a pie cutter. Hi, Emerald. All right. Wow, like how do you cut it when it's a big circle? Because like normally I do little bitty squares of cornbread. Can you cut, should I cut it like that? Or should I cut it into like a pie wedge? That seems too big. Let's cut it like this.
Squares, right?
Yeah, I'm going to do squares. I'm going to do it like this way. We're going to do them like, you know, in sensible lines like this. So.
Oh no.
Ah! Hey! He's getting beer apparently. Not a bad decision. All right, let's get a plate. Ooh. All right, so here we go. A nice little crumble here. Ooh, he's fancy. Or not fancy, it's nice looking. It's lovely. All right. Let's see how this tastes. Whoa. Ah, kitty! Lila! What kind of beer, Emerald, are you at? What is this?
It is pig's ear from New Hampshire. Oh, where is it?
Where's the camera? It's over here currently.
Woodstock from Woodstock in New Hampshire. New Hampshire brown ale, pig's ear. I think we've actually been to Woodstock Inn.
Yeah, I think that's up in the White Mountains.
Yeah, I think over there.
Alright. So now you know, he's not a big IPA fan, so brown ale it is. Alright, let's see how it is. So the first thing I actually noticed is that I taste the whole wheat flour like really strongly, which I guess when I eat cornbread though, I would much rather like get the taste of the cornmeal or more of the corn flavor. So that one, I taste a lot of the whole wheat flour. Now I remember, and this could be the same thing, is that the author of this book has noted that she includes whole wheat flour in a number of recipes, not for any important reason, but just because in Final Fantasy XIV, when you make the recipes, some of them include something wheat flour, and so to be authentic to what you're doing in your game, she's like, well then I should use wheat flour in the recipe, But like a wheat flour cornbread would be terrible, so they just kind of sprinkle like, you know, a quarter cup in there on top of your other flours. Anyway, I'm saying all that to say that I would probably make this without the whole wheat flour. It's fine. Like, okay, so it's tasty otherwise. It's nice. It's fluffy. It's very fluffy and crumbly, which is good for cornbread. And I love the fact that it's so crispy on the edge. Like, you know, the edges that were on the cast iron pan, of course, are very brown. And so those are nice and crunchy. Those are actually nice. But that's a technique, anyway. So if you make any cornbread recipe in a cast iron pan, you get that same effect. So yeah, so I like that this is a cast iron cornbread recipe. I would make it without the whole wheat flour. Because like you can taste it, that little bitterness of whole wheat in there. And it's stronger than the other flavors, and I'd really rather taste, like, I don't know, we ground butter for this. Like, if I'm going to go to that much effort to do, like, the fancy butter and not just melt it, then, like, I feel like I should be able to taste it. Very buttery, though. A few years ago, we went through the craft beers and the way. Yep. So anyway, it's okay. It's not like the best cornbread recipe I've ever had, but it's a different taste on it. I would probably modify it going forward, though. So yeah, that's kind of a which one was the best, like which recipe so far, or which cornbread recipe was the best? I feel like I don't exactly have a huge pedigree with like making really fancy cornbread. But yes, out of recipes, French toast is the best one so far. Of all the Final Fantasy XIV recipes that I've done, French toast is absolutely the best. I've only done like 10 recipes so far now. I really like the walnut bread, and then the French toast, which you make with the walnut bread. And if I can get the ingredients and actually get it out of the house, which is the reason that I was doing cornbread today. So it was, the full story now, this some people later, is that I was going to do a fancier recipe, possibly the crab croquettes, and like have a deep frying stream, and like it was all prepared and ready. But an ice storm came through yesterday, and we were not easily able to get out this morning and go to the store. So I had not planned for that at all. I'm not prepared. I basically, I'm used to assuming that we'll have a snowstorm, and then the next day I can just go out and do something, and I can't today, so I was not sure what to do, so I was just like, oh, okay, I have buttermilk, I'll just do the cornbread recipe. So that's how I ended up doing this, and then I didn't want to hit the end of stream and then be like, great, now that I've done cornbread, now I can make dinner. So I just did everything on stream today. Yeah, so that's how I ended up here. But we're iced in at the moment. It should thaw tomorrow or the day after, and then we can actually go shopping. And next week hopefully I can do the crab croquettes. Or a fancy dessert. Maybe I'll do donuts. I don't know. We'll see how I feel next week. But which cornbread recipe is my favorite? There's a really good America's Test Kitchen one that had like, you know, whole corn pieces in it and just hugely buttery. That one was pretty good. But I'm very not discerning. I also like the one that comes on the back of the cornmeal bag. So anyway, don't listen to me. I'm not Southern enough to have a cornbread recipe opinion, except that I don't like this one tastes like so much of. I don't like that this one tastes so much of whole wheat flour. So anyway, that's my opinion. But with that done, I have completed the entire meal. Everything's getting cold, so I should probably make Emerald eat a piece of this on stream, and then we should go raid somebody. That's right, come over here. You should eat a piece. Then we can go. Oh!
Oh, we want these things.
What? Come on. Oh, wait, we have these emotes. Where do these Pikachus come from? Alright, eat a piece. See if I'm being picky.
It's crispy. It's really. Yeah, it has a wheat flavor. I don't know, it doesn't really bother me.
Isn't that?
Not really. I can taste it though.
It's just the strongest flavor. Like when there's like browned butter and buttermilk in there, I'd like to taste those.
Yeah, I can see that.
You're like,
No, I think it is fine, but it is a little. It has that wheat flour. I don't know how to describe it. Wheat flour has that like.
kind of a bitter note or an earthy note. But anyway, yes, it's not bad. It is a perfectly serviceable cornbread recipe. I just think that particular flavor is a little strong. Being so nitpicky. I should just be like, oh, it's so good. It's like the flavor of yours, yeah. But yeah, anyway. And I'm just going to be like a food critic on all my stream here. Alright, anyway, we should go rate some of these so I can actually eat my food while it's actually hot. Alright, but I don't. Who can I raid? Emerald, you're the one who's been.
I don't know. You want to raid this time?
Oh, I'm gonna raid this time? Oh no.
The last time you were going to, and then.
Oh, I was going to and I didn't. Quick, somebody tell me if like Amanda's streaming or somebody's streaming. Where's my Twitch? There's my Twitch. Let's see who we can. Alright, Wall Turner is live. That's the only person I'm following who is live. But he's doing music arrangements. Time to practice some of the music. I assume he's preparing for his concerts. So I don't know if it's relevant.
A bunch of gamers and musicians.
You have gamers and musicians. Is anyone playing video games?
Let's see. Just one person is playing. Baba is you. You're next. That's the person who came by and watched our wilderness stream.
Oh, somebody who watched our wilderness stream. Yeah, let's do that.
You're next.
Oh, okay. So, anyway, we played wilderness on Tuesday.
That worked.
And so now we're going to go over there. Alright, so. Okay, so I'm in the stupid dashboard. Look, see, I'm in the dashboard. This is the dashboard, Twitch dashboard
maybe
stream.
Maybe someone raids for you then.
Oh, someone raids for me? I can't raid now.
You're next.
Pure mix. Start raid. Something went wrong.
Oh no.
Alright, well, anyway. Can you raid now for me?
I can't. I never could do it.
Wow. Anyway, I don't understand Twitch. Apparently we're now like 2 months later and I still don't know how to raid somebody directly because it just doesn't have a friggin' button.
Yeah, because normally it gives you a raid button.
Yeah, I'm logged in. This is my stream manager. This looks like this is dashboard, right? Anyway, it's all a mystery to me. I'm too old for Twitch.
We can keep talking.
We can keep talking for about 30 more seconds.
Pure Nix is a streamer who dropped by my stream actually while we were playing Golden Myth. So you'll have to tell him or her. I think it's a him. I actually don't know tell them about what we were doing, and this is your stream.
Ah, rare.
Elistha, I don't think I know how to pronounce your name, and if I'm not mistaken, did I see you playing Wilder Myth just the other day? I believe, was that you? Was that you playing with Emerald Arcana? At least you followed yes. At least you found yes. Okay. Oh, there's Emerald Arcana as well. Okay. Good to see you both. I'm just trying to build a puzzle. I think building a puzzle is more puzzling than solving puzzles. How is Wildermyth going? I'm curious, what did you run into in Wildermyth? Quick stream? Oh my gosh. Okay, so I need to get through this push. No, that's too dangerous a spot.
I've never actually checked out this guy's stream yet. So.
Yeah, I know.
It's good to come out because he's come out a few times. But there are rice cookers in Final Fantasy 14.
My brain might be dying too much even for making